Hello, today I'm going to be unboxing the ASUS TUF Gaming B850-Plus Wi-Fi motherboard, which is compatible with AMD's 7000, 8000 and 9000 Ryzen processors. So let's go ahead and get it unboxed and take a closer look at it. So this is everything that comes in the box with our motherboard. So we've got our quick start guide, some information on ASUS web storage, and some TUF gaming stickers. We've got the antenna for our Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth 5.4. We've got two SATA data cables, and we've got three rubber pads for our M.2 SSDs. Working along the bottom of the motherboard from left to right, first of all we've got a HD audio connector, followed by three system fan headers, and then we've got a 3-pin 5-volt ARGB connector. Next to this we've got a COM port, followed by a Thunderbolt stroke USB 4 header. We've then got two USB 2.0 headers, followed by two SATA ports. We've then got a clear CMOS jumper, followed by our system panel header where you're going to plug in your front panel connectors, and at the bottom right of the motherboard we've got a chassis intrusion header. Working up the right hand side of the motherboard, first of all we've got two SATA ports, followed by a forward facing USB 5 gigabit per second port. Just above this we've got a front panel type C header, and this will support speeds of up to 10 gigabits per second. We've then got a 24-pin power connector, followed by another two 3-pin 5-volt ARGB connectors, giving us a total of three of these on the motherboard. At the top right of the motherboard we've got our debug LEDs, which you'll find useful if you need to troubleshoot your system. Working along the top of the motherboard, first of all we've got our CPU opt and CPU fan headers, followed by our IO pump header. At the top left of the motherboard we've got two 8-pin EPS power connectors, and our motherboard's fourth and final system fan header is just to the left of our top M.2 slot. The motherboard features a 14+2+1 power phase design, and you can see we've got large aluminium heat sinks over the VRM. In the middle of the motherboard we've got our AM5 socket and standard mounting brackets. You can see the motherboard has 4 RAM slots and will accommodate up to a maximum of 192 gigabytes of DDR5 at up to 8000 plus megatransfers per second overclocked. And we've got the TUF Gaming logo over our B850 chipset. The motherboard features 2x16 size PCIe slots, and it's good to see the top one is reinforced. It's our Gen 5 slot and it will run in x16 mode, and it's good to see it has a Q release latch which should make it easy to remove your graphics card. The lower x16 size slot is a Gen 4 slot and it will run in x4 mode, and above and below this slot we've got a Gen 4x1 slot. The PCIe lanes for the top Gen 5 slot come directly from the CPU, while the PCIe lanes for the bottom 3 Gen 4 slots come via the chipset. The motherboard has three M.2 SSDs. I'll go ahead and remove the heatsink to give you a closer look at them. The top slot is a Gen 5x4 slot, whereas the bottom two slots are Gen 4x4 slots. The PCIe lanes for slot 1 and 2 come directly from the CPU, whereas the PCIe lanes for slot number 3, which is the bottom right hand slot, come via the chipset. It is important to note that this M.2 slot shares PCIe lanes with our bottom x16 size PCIe slot. So if you install an M.2 drive in slot number 3, your bottom x16 size PCIe slot is going to be disabled. And installing and removing your M.2 SSDs should be really straightforward with ASUS's Q latches. Take a look at our rear I/O. First of all we've got a display port and HDMI ports. We've then got two USB Type-A 10 gigabit per second ports, followed by two USB 2.0 ports. The one with the rectangle round it is where you're going to plug your USB drive if you want to flash your BIOS. And next to these we've got a 2.5 gigabit Ethernet port. We've then got a USB 20 gigabit per second Type-C port, followed by a USB Type-A 10 gigabit per second port. Beneath these we've got 4 USB Type-A 5 gigabit per second ports, and then we've got the antenna ports for our Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth 5.4. Beneath this we've got our blast flashback button and the audio connectors, and the audio codec used is the ALC 1220p. This does look to be a really solid B850 motherboard from ASUS. In terms of pricing, as I'm recording this well before launch, I don't have any information just yet, but when the motherboard goes on sale I'll put links to it in the description and you'll be able to click on these to find out how much it's going to cost you. So really looking forward to getting this into a build on the channel soon. If you have enjoyed this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up, and if you're not currently subscribed to the channel, please hit the subscribe button as well. Thanks for watching.